is Kathy again, joining you for another craft. Today we're making Matryoshka dolls, or Russian nesting dolls. For today's craft, you'll need to have stopped at the library and picked up one of our craft packs. This is a different craft pack than the general one that we handed out earlier. In each of these, you're going to get a selection of pretty paper, as well as a separate pattern that you're going to use to create this craft. So, the first thing that you're going to need to do is take the piece of paper that we've given you with the pattern, and you can cut the dolls out or start by using this as your pattern. Matryoshka dolls come to us from Russia. They're sort of a folk art that originated in the late 1800s, in the very end of the century. Russian nesting dolls typically are made out of linden wood, and they feature a doll that opens up and will have anywhere between typically 3 or 5 dolls on the inside. Usually, the outermost doll is a woman, which is why they're Matryoshka dolls, which is a variation on a woman's Russian name. And then the dolls on the inside can match the one on the outside, but sometimes they don't. You'll find Matryoshka dolls that tell a story. For example, a fairy tale or a Russian legend. You'll find ones that are religious, that tell a religious story. You'll also find ones that are holiday themed, like Easterish ones or Christmas ones. Ones with Santas are quite popular for collectors. So there are a number of different ways that you can do these. I've even seen Matryoshka dolls that have political figures or are cats and dogs. Those are really cool. For today, though, we're going to focus on doing ones that are a little bit more traditional. The traditional doll that we're going to be working on will be up to you to decide how you want to finish it. But a traditional Matryoshka doll will be a woman on the outside wearing a bit of a shawl, and they frequently have some sort of floral motif. So you're going to want to get a couple of supplies and then get ready to start your craft. You'll need the pattern that we gave you. You're going to need your paper. You'll need scissors and a stick of glue, or if you want to color your dolls, you'll need some of the crayons. So gather your supplies and then we'll get started. All right, do you have all of your tools assembled? Good, let's get started. As I mentioned, you can choose to either start the craft by cutting out the whole doll pattern, or starting and using the pattern and then cutting it out. When you're cutting it out, you want to leave the dolls attached. You'll notice that there are dotted lines in between the dolls, and you want to leave those on. The reason you want to leave them on is you want to be able to fold your nesting dolls and then display them all in a line. They disappear and then they reappear. Now, you can choose to decorate your dolls in a number of different ways. The pattern that I have here has the dolls where they look very similar. They all have red scarves and aprons with flowers on the front. And that's a pretty traditional pattern. So you can choose to do your dolls like that. If you choose, however, we have given you some of the fancy paper. And here's an example of how I started to decorate the dolls. You'll see that I took each of the patterns and I mixed and matched them so that each doll is a little bit different, but they all blend together. You'll notice that I haven't actually done the heads and the faces on these dolls. And there's a reason for that. When I was working on making the one set of dolls, I found that it was hard to get this shape around the face evenly. So when I made up the pattern to hand out, you'll notice that I have an extra set of the faces up at the top. That way, if you want to cut the circles of the faces out, you can, and then glue them on top of the pattern. So, in your pattern, you should have 5 or 6 different sheets of the paper so that you can mix and match. And as you can see here, for most of the dolls that I've made, and you can see in the picture online, I've used the same palette, if you will, to create each of the dolls. Then I created the part up at the top that has the scarf around the face, and I cut out the second face and glued it on top of the covering that I had chosen for that, so that way it would be easier than trying to cut out the circle on the pretty paper. From there, I decorated the dolls' faces and gave them all different expressions. And so you can choose to decorate your dolls more so that they look the same or so that they look different. And if you want to go creative and make your dolls with different people, that's fine. That is considered acceptable in the tradition as well. Or you can make them all match the same. We'll be doing a few more of these sorts of fun crafts where you'll need to stop at the library and pick up an additional craft pack. And I look forward to seeing you when we do some more of these. If you have any questions about the craft, feel free to contact the library. And I hope to see you again, friends. Goodbye and good day.